So I test and benchmark a lot of PC components. And one thing that I've never really gotten around to is getting a bench case, even though I know for a fact that my life would be so much easier. Take my Corsair 460X as an example. I've been using this thing as my pseudo test bench and it is an absolute mess. But the thing is, I could never really justify the price for a test bench. Just taking a quick look at prices around Amazon or Newegg and you'll see what I mean. For 50 to 80 bucks, you essentially get 2 plastic sheets and some plastic pillars to kind of put everything together. The Only does have a pretty compelling test bench going for $100, and in my opinion has improved a lot over the last iteration, but I also wanted the ability to convert the test bench into a normal workstation if I wanted to down the line. Luckily, I ran into a slick deal for this. This is the Thermal Take Core P3SE. At first glance, this case does seem to do everything I need to, but I won't really know for sure until I start building. Getting into the packaging, I do like how Thermal Take has done a pretty good job of isolating and securing each part to ensure that the case arrives safely. The core portion of the case feels relatively light and sturdy at the same time. On the display side, we see markings that show support for ATX, MATX, and ITX, while the other side we see VESA mounts if you want to mount the case on a wall. Since these mount points are following the VESA standard, there are an abundance of mounting solutions that you can find on either Amazon or Monoprice. Moving to the side of the core, we see the power and reset button along with other front panel I/O in a very convenient location that is accessible when placed on either the vertical or horizontal mode. Legs required for vertical and horizontal mode are included. For the vertical position, you'll need to secure these hefty plastic feet at the bottom of the case, while the horizontal position just requires some rubber ones. The first thing I noticed when opening the side panel is the creative way Thermal Take has positioned the 2.5-inch SSD drives in the space behind where the rad would be mounted. This way, the fresh air gets pulled past the filter, cooling the SSD and then exhausting the hot air upward. The inside of the case is pretty straightforward. We see a front panel PCB, 2 toolless 3.5-inch hard drive mounts, and ample space to route and tuck cables. Access to the motherboard side is also convenient, with plenty of rounded tray slots distributed throughout the case. Even the slots with the rubber grommets have the metal tray under it rolled, so that is a really nice touch. Quickly throwing components in, I found the process to be absolutely painless, and I can already tell from this small experience that building up and breaking down systems are going to be a much more streamlined process with this case. For this build, I went with the Corsair HX1050 power supply for overhead versatility. The AIO is a Cooler Master 240mm RGB, with the core of the system being the Asus Z370i Strix with the Core i7 8600K. Now this board will eventually go into a smaller form factor case, but I wanted to run some delidding testing before that. Now that the components are in, it's time to plug everything together. Looking inside the case, you can already see that it's a bit of a rat's nest, and that's completely fine with me considering the scope. It doesn't really make sense for me to tie everything down just to remove it again when the configuration changes. The back panel does go on without an issue, but you do kind of have to finesse it back into place. Once everything is closed up, the only thing left is to secure the panel with thumb screws and fire this thing up. Fortunately, the system booted right up. If you have a need for something like this and can find this particular case between 35 to 60 USD, I would highly recommend it. I've noticed that the stock for this particular case has been steadily dropping over the last few months, so jump on it before they're gone. Anyways, thanks for watching, like, subscribe, it really helps me out, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, and one last thing. My release schedule for longer form videos have been incredibly erratic, I know, I'm working on it. But if you want to see what I've been up to in between videos, you can follow me on Instagram with this tag here, and you'll be able to see little videos like this one.